Hey everyone, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It's always great to be with you on the Inspirations for Your Life show. If you're new here, well, welcome. If you're coming back, well, of course, welcome back. Thanks so much for tuning into the show. Always do appreciate new viewers as well as people that come back and love the content. So thanks for being here. If you're thirsty, feel free to go get yourself something like some RO water like I have, maybe a snack, could be some fruit. Could be some chips, could be a piece of cake, could be something else, whatever you like. Go get that and come on back. Our master topic for the week is the power to change a life is already in your hands. And I want to let you know that today's granular topic is compassion action, choosing empathy over apathy, series 4, show 29. Hey friends, and if you have not, don't forget to visit believemeachieve.com for more of my, of course, amazing, inspiring creations. Do that after the show, by the way. All right, guys. Great to have you with me. Welcome to another, shall we say, transformative episode of the Inspirations for Your Life with myself, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, podcast host, coach, video producer, engineer, graduate student, and much more. And, of course, lifelong learner. Tonight, our conversation is one that cuts deep because it speaks truth and has the power to completely reframe how you connect with yourself and others. We're driving into the heart of gratitude and empathy, and not just as feel-good ideas, but as core practices for meaningful living. Leadership and connection, whether you're leading a team, building relationships, or healing from personal challenges, these insights will equip you to rise above apathy, lean into compassion, and ignite real change in your life and community. So take a break, everyone. Tune in and let's elevate our lives together, one powerful truth at a time. Are you ready, everyone? I know I am. So let's kick this off and let's get started. All right, everyone. So in this powerful episode, I'm going to explore how gratitude is not just an emotion, but it's a mindset and a way of life. Whether you're navigating smooth seasons or facing life's toughest challenges, gratitude has the power to reframe your experiences, build resilience, and keep your groundedness in purpose. From daily rituals to mindset shifts, we uncover how embracing gratitude can unlock deeper learning, strengthen relationships, and add meaning to every step of your journey. Combined with the strength of empathy and the action of compassion, will unpack a toolkit that leads to transformation in leadership, love, and of course, life itself. So you ready, guys? Let's go ahead and let's get started. Empathy connects, apathy disconnects. Empathy is the bridge between isolation and, that's right, guys, connection. Yeah. Connection. So I think that's a very important thing, to realize and also to really understand. We take the time to feel with someone, to genuinely understand their perspective. We create a bond rooted in trust and respect. Apathy, on the other hand, creates emotional distances. It says, I don't care, even if that's not what's truly meant. When we lead with empathy, whether in relationships or the workplace, we affirm others' experiences. This affirmation builds community and loyalty. In contrast, apathy quietly erodes connections, leaving people unseen and unheard. Choose empathy. It builds the kind of connection that can't be faked or forced. And I think that's an important thing for many people to realize, is the difference between faking something and forcing something, right? I think that's a very important thing. So compassion is empathy with action. Empathy helps us understand, but compassion pushes us to respond. It's the moment when you not only feel someone's pain, but also ask, how can I help you? Compassion is what turns a kind thought into a powerful gesture. It's offering support during a tough or challenging time, showing up when it's inconvenient, or standing up for someone when it's uncomfortable. In workplaces, communities, and relationships, compassion becomes the heartbeat of meaningful impact. It's empathy amplified, and it changes lives, guys. Yeah, it changes lives. I think that's a really amazing thing that it changes lives. And that might be something that you like. It might be something you don't like. I don't know. But I'm here to tell you that you need to understand this. Okay. Apathy often stems from overwhelmness or disconnections. Apathy doesn't always mean a person doesn't care. Often it's a signal that they're too overwhelmed to feel. When life feels too heavy, the brain just shuts down, of course, the heart too. And in a defense type of way. This emotional numbness protects us short term, but long term, it isolates us. Recognizing this is key when someone seems apathetic, asks what's underneath. Are they burned out? Do they feel powerless? A gentle check in can be the first step to bringing them back. Promotional shutdown and reigniting that engagement. So I think that engagement is very, very, I think that's a very powerful thing to understand how that engagement works and what it can do and what it can't do. But being aware is really the key. Number 4, small acts of kindness can spark big change. Yeah. Never underestimate the ripple effect of a kind word, a handwritten note, or even a smile. Small actions rooted in empathy and gratitude can lift someone's entire day or even change the course of their life. In workplaces, small gestures of appreciation create cultures of belongingness. In families and friendships, they foster security and warmth. And in wider worlds, they remind us that kindness is a superpower. You don't have to change the world in one move, just one movement of connection can light a fire. Number 5, emotional numbness is a defense, but it limits growth. It's natural to protect ourselves from pain, especially if we've been hurt before. Emotional numbness can be a coping mechanism, but over time, it blocks us from fully experiencing joy, connection, and growth. By recognizing our numbness, not judging it, we can begin to heal. Emotional awareness is not weakness, it's strength. When we allow ourselves to feel even the hard stuff, we also open ourselves to greater empathy, love, and purpose. And I think that's an important point that many people, well, they kind of miss that point for whatever reason. Right? Number 6, listening is a powerful form of compassion. Hmm. That's pretty neat, isn't it? In a noisy world, listening is an act of generosity. It's saying, I see you. You matter. Too often we listen to replies, not to understand, but true listening means being fully present without fixing or judging. It validates the other person's experience and helps them feel safe and heard. Whether you're a leader, a friend, or a partner, practicing compassionate listening builds trust and emotional safety. Remember, silence can speak louder than words when it's filled with care. I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand. Okay, I don't think they understand that. And I know that can sound challenging, but it's really the truth. Okay, it is absolutely the truth. Compassion fuels community, trust, and healing. A compassionate environment doesn't just feel better, it functions better. It builds stronger teams, more resilient families, and deeper communities. When compassion is present, people feel safe to be real. They're more likely to share ideas, express needs, and grow. Trust becomes the default, not the exception. And when mistakes happen, as they always do, compassion offers grace and learning. not blame. This is how healing happens, not just in individuals, but in systems and in societies. And I think that's an important thing for all of us to understand. Okay? I think that's a very, very important thing for all of us to understand. And if we understand it, then we truly can, we can grow and we can become stronger. We can learn. I think those are very important things. Number 8, choosing empathy means choosing to care, even when it's hard. Empathy isn't always easy, guys. It asks us to stay open. It would rather shut down. It challenges us to lean into discomfort, to walk in someone else's shoes, even when their story is, well, painful. But this choice to care despite the challenge is what sets true leaders and change makers apart. When you choose empathy, you're not only offering support, you're modeling courage, connection, and humanity in action. That choice has the power to shift relationships, resolve conflict, and inspire transformations. I think that's a very important thing for all of us to realize, that we have to be aware of things. That's where things start. It starts with awareness. True leadership is rooted in empathy. Empathy, guys, is not just a nice to have trait. It's essential for leadership that inspires and endures. Great leaders don't lead with fear. They lead with understanding. They see the whole person, not just the role. They ask questions like, how are you? Really? And what do you need to succeed? Empathy in leadership drives engagement, innovation, and loyalty. It doesn't mean avoiding hard decisions. It means making them with true heart, humanity, and responsibility. Something a lot of people skip by because, like, oh, I don't want to do that. That might be hard. That might cause me to make a mistake. That might cause me to be vulnerable. Wow. Number 10. Be the person who notices and responds. In every room, there's someone who's struggling quietly. Be the person who notices. Be the person who says, hey, are you okay? Or offers help without being asked. These small acts build a culture of care. You don't need a title or a platform to lead. You just need to look, listen, and respond. Often the most impactful change starts with one person choosing to show up with true heart. And I know that sounds like something really crazy, but you know what? It is the truth. And here's the part of the show I love the most. Well, I love the whole show, but I love this part the most. I'm going to give you a personal, let's say, story or lesson about each point, okay? And it's my hope, guys, that this is going to stir up something. This is going to get you to wake up. It's going to get you to do more than smell the coffee, right? I think those are some important things that maybe, right? Maybe you're saying to yourself, I don't quite get all this, right? Maybe you're saying that it's different now. But how can it be different? Well, you've grown. You've changed, right? Does that make sense? And so if you can observe this and be aware of this, I think that can put you in, well, a different position. A position that might not be what you expected. A position that's going to teach you things. Right? And I think that's probably the most important thing I can tell you is be aware, because what you've done yesterday might be the same, but your reactions are going to change. Your reactions are going to change. That's pretty amazing. So empathy connects, apathy disconnects. A few years back, I was leading a team through a difficult merger. Tensions were high and people were worried about job security. I noticed one team member growing quiet and withdrawn, and instead of writing it off as disinterest, I decided to check in with him privately. That one conversation where I simply listened opened the door to an honest dialogue. He later told me it was the first time someone at work made him feel truly seen. That experience reminded me that empathy doesn't require answers, it requires presence. When we listen without judgment and choose to understand, we reconnect people to purpose and each other. Apathy may be easier in the short term, but it creates emotional distance that can fracture teams and relationships in the long term. Connection starts with noticing and truly caring. My question for you is, do you really care, or do you just go through the motions for people? I mean, that's a question, right? Number two, compassion is empathy with action. When my neighbor's father had passed away unexpectedly, I could see the weight he carried each day. Many people offered their condolences, but few took it further. I knew words weren't enough, so I started checking in regularly, bringing the family and his wife meals, and even helping with some of their yard work on weekends. One day, the lady told me, "You didn't just say you cared, you showed me." That's breathtaking. That moment stuck with me. It taught me that compassion isn't always loud or grand. It's consistent, thoughtful, and it's active. In a world full of passive sympathy, compassion stands out. It bridges the gap between intention and impact, reminding people they're not alone in their struggles. Apathy often stems from overwhelm or disconnection. I once mentored a bright young intern who, after a few weeks, seemed completely disengaged. At first, I was frustrated. He was missing deadlines and barely speaking in meetings. But something told me to dig deeper. When I finally sat down and asked, "Is everything okay?" he broke down. He was struggling with depression and had no one to talk to. That encounter taught me a crucial lesson. What looks like apathy is often pain disguised. People shut down not because they don't care, but because they're overwhelmed or don't feel safe. By leaning in with compassion, we can help people reconnect, not just with others, but with themselves. And I think that's a priceless juncture that many people need to learn. Right? They need to learn that. Small acts of kindness can spark big change. During one of the lowest points in my entrepreneurial journey, I walked into a coffee shop feeling completely defeated. As I ordered, the barista looked at me and said, "You've got this, whatever it is." That single sentence from a stranger, a few years after college, shifted my whole mindset. I walked out with a renewed focus and energy. It reminded me that kindness doesn't require context. You never know what someone is carrying or how a small gesture might change their entire day or their world. Whether it's a smile, a compliment, or a genuine thank you, these tiny little acts can become turning points. Never underestimate their power. Emotional numbness is a defense, but it limits growth, guys. Yes, it limits growth, and that's important. There was a time in my life when I was focused on performance and progress that I stopped allowing myself to feel anything deeply. I thought I was being strong, but I really was protecting myself from disappointment. I became emotionally, well, best way to say it is numb, efficient, but disconnected from people and even the joy that they were trying to share with me. Eventually, I realized I couldn't selectively numb pain without also numbing passion, love, and creativity. I started doing the hard work, journaling, opening up to trusted friends, and giving myself permission to feel again. Wow, that was amazing. And with that came more authentic relationships and a richer experience of life. Numbness may feel safe, but it comes at a cost. You might not see it today, but you'll pay for it later. Listening is a powerful form of compassion. In one coaching session, a client shared something deeply personal about a past trauma. Instead of rushing to give advice or fix the issue, I simply listened fully, quietly, without interruption. By the end, he said, "That's the first time I felt truly heard in years." That moment shifted the way I coach and lead. Listening isn't passive, it's healing. It creates a sacred space where people can hear their own voice, perhaps for the first time. In a noisy world, giving someone your full attention might be the most powerful gift you can offer. Compassion, guys, fuels community, trust, and that's right, healing. I bet that's something you probably haven't heard before. That's something you need to hear. Compassion fuels community, trust, and healing. Years ago, one of my companies went through a crisis that caused major disruption for our clients and employees. Instead of focusing solely on damage control, we led with transparency and compassion. We admitted the missteps, asked for input, and showed up with empathy. Truly, the result, trust deepened, not eroded. People rally around us. Instead of walking away, that experience showed me that compassion isn't just about being nice. It's about creating a culture where people feel safe, valued, and willing to contribute. Not because they have to, but because they want to, even in the hard times. See, that's how you build lasting communities. Choosing empathy means choosing to care, even when it's hard. I know that that's hard to grasp. I know. A close friend and I once had a falling out over a misunderstanding that hurt us both deeply. I wanted to walk away, as it felt easier than sitting in discomfort. But something in me said, John, lean in. So I called him and asked to hear his side. Without defending my own, it was hard, humbling, and emotional, but healing began that day. Empathy isn't always convenient or comfortable. It challenges your ego and asks you, hey, listen, when you'd rather be right. But when you choose empathy, you build bridges instead of walls. And sometimes you even rebuild relationships you thought were lost for life. True leadership, my friends, is rooted in empathy. I once worked under a CEO who made it his mission to know every employee by name. Even in a large company, he didn't just ask about quarterly goals, he asked about kids, birthdays, and their dreams. People felt seen, valued, and it showed in their performance and their loyalty. This taught me a new definition of leadership. It's just about having all the answers. It was about understanding your people, empathy, and it isn't a soft skill. It's a core leadership strength that drives culture, innovation, and resilience, folks. The best leaders lead with heart, not just strategy. Maybe you see some people that push things around. Those are people that are leading from books. They're not leading from their heart. I've learned that in life, you've got to lead from your heart. Anybody can lead from a book, but it's the integrity that comes from your heart and that passion that connects with others, that gets them involved. Be the person who notices and responds. At a networking event, I saw a young man standing alone in the corner, clearly uncomfortable. While most people passed him by, I walked over, introduced myself, and invited him into the conversation. Later, he told me that one moment gave him the confidence to start building his career. That encounter reminded me that leadership doesn't require a stage. It begins in everyday moments. Be the one who notices who's left out, who's quiet, who's hurting. You never know what impact your small act of inclusion might have. That real influence, showing up for others simply because you care, is what did it. See, empathy, guys, is contagious if you didn't know it. Model it. Just like stress or negativity can spread, so can empathy. When people witness compassion in action, it inspires them to do the same. Your empathy teaches others what's possible by showing kindness, understanding, and true grace. Even when it's tough, you give permission for others to lead with heart too. This ripple effect has no limits either. If you want to change the world, start by changing your corner of it. That's what you got to do first. Apathy never solved the problem. Compassion often does. And a lot of these things I'm sharing with you won't mean anything to you until you actually have the ability to exercise them in your own world. Apathy lets problems fester. It says, it's not my job, or it's too much for me. But compassion steps in. It asks, how can I help? And what's one step forward? Most great solutions didn't come from ignoring pain. They came from acknowledging it and responding with care. Compassion leads to action. It's what drives changes in families, businesses, friendships, and global movements. Don't underestimate it. Choose compassion. It works. Be patient. I think when we're able to step back and take a look at our lives, of what we're saying, what we're doing, what we're feeling, and then choosing, ladies and gentlemen, to respond to those things, to those emotions, to those feelings, with not some kind of textbook jargon, but with the gut feelings we have in our heart. That's powerful, guys. That is so very, very powerful. And I want to tell you that the most important thing is getting the strength and the courage to look within. Because you got to get over the ego. That's important. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. Do check me out at believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. And remember, compassion will start with you. Be authentic. Start doing it now. Have a good one, everyone. Be well.